Aries on the 10th house cusp. Aries on the midheaven. What is the midheaven? What is the 10th house? It's an earth house that represents the area of our life when it comes to how we navigate career experiences, and it holds the domain for our social status, our reputation, our notoriety. So depending on the sign you have in this house, heavily influences things you may naturally develop a reputation for, and a lot of the main influences and energetic themes you will experience, regardless of what you're doing in career. All right. Now, when we talk about Aries, the most important thing we have to kick off the video with is understanding the ruler of this house. There's going to be a lot of things I say in this Signs Through the 10th House series that talk about things that you're going to experience in career, things that may be in your favor in career, resistance you may deal with in your career. However, when we know where the ruler of the 10th house is at, this is how we get to the meat and potatoes of what we spiritually designed for ourselves to follow when it comes into career. Okay, we can do anything we want to do. We can be whoever we want to be. We can have whatever type of brand, business, reputation that we want to have, and it's important to understand that these things are going to change anyways. All right, you're gonna have to retire from the NBA and do something else someday. You're gonna have to like, things move in periods and chapters, y'all. All right, so regardless of what you're doing, you could be an athlete in the early portion of your life. I talk about myself. I started off as an athlete, had a reputation for that. Then I transitioned to being more of a teacher, and then, there may be other development waiting for me when it comes into my 10th house, career path. All right, for the most part. So it's important to understand that off rip, especially Aries in the 10th house, because it's such a transformative nature in this area. Your ruler is Mars. All right. The ruler here is Mars. Okay, now this is a very important house when we talk about your natal chart in general, because this is a cardinal house. The cardinal houses are the houses that are incorporated into the life path, all right, of the ascendant. So this house is gonna have a significant relationship with the first house, your personal life, your fourth house, your family and home environment, private space, and your seventh house, your relationship life. All right. So when we get into the 10th house and we have the ruler Mars here, you need to know what house Mars is in, because the house Mars is in, the themes of that house are naturally going to be they're going to be attached to your aura in the 10th house. Okay, this house is where a lot of fruits are waiting for you in career, as long as you invest in it, you're willing to wear the reputation of this house, brand and build out of this house. A lot of us naturally are in the careers we're in because of the ruler of the 10th house in general already, whether you're into spirituality or not. All right. When I found out my 10th house lords and energies and whatnot, I'm like, okay, this shit, it's all right. I see that. I was on path before I knew all this shit. All right. So this is what you guys have to understand with that ruler of the 10th house. Wherever Mars is at for my Cancer rising, with that Aries on the 10th house cusp, wherever Mars is at, that house is heavily attached to your reputation, and you want to make sure you're seen for energies in that house. When you realize how you're seen for things in that house, you want to wear that. You want to utilize that in your favor when it comes into navigating career. So if you have Mars in the 6th house, anything dealing with regiment, health, wellness, naturally in your favor for career. Mars in the 4th house, anything dealing with the home environments, the subconscious, things you've developed or learned or got passed down in the home environment, which could be wisdom, knowledge of things, insight, things you experienced that developed into wisdom out of your 4th house, social working, things dealing with people's subconscious, therapy. If you got Mars in the 7th house, relationship work, doing things with others, collaborations, things dealing with one-on-one connection, all right? Maybe things dealing with therapy, counseling, but not to be so, all up into the psychology field, but, being able to communicate real interactive fields, giving your critiques, your opinions, partnerships, so this is, you want to know where Mars is at. You want to know where Mars is at. Leave a comment. Let me know what house you got Mars and how it affects your career, all right? And how you realize you deal with those influences and themes in career. So very important house to understand when it comes into the ruler of your 10th. All right. Now, Aries, Mars. Aries and Mars influences in the 10th house. Cancer risings. I need y'all to understand something about having Aries in this 10th house. I need y'all to understand something. This house breaks you out of your comfort zone in this experience. This house will break you out of your comfort zone in this experience. You have Cancer in the first house. Everything, correlates to how you feel, your intuition and understanding and connection with things, people, places, and things in your personal life. And that's a huge hub that you utilize for how you make decisions for things in your personal life. But when it comes into Aries in the 10th house, we have to set intention in careers. All right, so we're gonna start there. There has to be an intention set here that we can't float. Aries is intentional. Aries is adamant. Aries is not a talker. Aries is a doer. So you will manifest a lot of situations in your life when there's a lack of intention, that something in this 10th house can be very transformative. Mars deals with transformation. This is Aries and Mars in the 10th house. You're dealing with a lot of passion, force, aggression up in your career life. Whether it's your managers, supervisors, your co-workers, nutty ass co-workers, annoying as hell and shit, thinking they got some authority and shit. Aries in the 10th house. Aries in the 10th house. You may have natural instincts from time to time to push out extreme energy, but the thing is, early in life, you may do this in short periods of time in your career life. And in those short periods of time where you push out a lot of extreme energy, Mars, passion, force, you push out a lot of extreme energy, whether it's a couple of weeks, a couple of months, and you've seen these results. Sometimes you can get maybe exhausted, because Mars does have an exaltation influence in this house. All right. So even though it's not, you may have it in this house, you may have Mars in your 10th house, but by default, it is great to have this sense of passion in the 10th house. So there's going to be a innate passion within you to build something and be somebody in the 10th house. All right. But with all that being said, like I said, sometimes it could be extreme transformation to light that spark, up under your shit. All right. For you to get on your shit in the 10th house. There's going to be times, Cancer, you don't want to do what you got to do in the 10th house. You're not comfortable in that environment, but that may be a period that you have to embrace to get some shit popping in your 10th house, to get to your destinations in the 10th house, to get to your desired places in the 10th house. Those be the parts that sometimes you Cancer risers get too hung up on and create blockages and be in a certain point in the 10th house for a little too long because it's something you ain't want to do. You needed to pick up this part-time job or whatever, or work in this place for a temporary time, in order to just get your shit together a little bit to help fund your dreams. But I don't want to work there. I don't like the people there. Come on, Cancer rising. Come on, Cancer rising. We can't be making them excuses when it's time to get shit done in the 10th house. All right. Like I said, when we look at the essence of Aries, it's a get shit done type of energy. It's active. It's full of life. You have to make sure your career life, what you're doing in career, how you're navigating in career, you got to make sure you're pouring life into that shit, Cancer rising. All right. This is still all revolving around the themes of setting intention. All right. I'm really just still going off of that. All right. Now, shit. So yeah, you may have these periods of pushing out this extreme energy because Aries is in your 10th house. So you're going to have a Mars influence here. So you are going to be passionate about getting something done in the 10th house, creating something in the 10th house, creating a social status, being seen, or not necessarily seen because you're Cancer rising. So that's also something you have to deal with in life because attention is not your thing all the time. Being seen, being in the spotlight, not your thing all the time. But as far as the 10th house, it deals with those attributes, period. Okay. But when it comes into, when it comes into having Aries here, you may repetitively run into forceful, aggressive, power and controlling environments in your 10th house while you're navigating career that you have to learn how to be wise navigating. And then you yourself will have tendencies to push out some passionate, potentially bridge burning, impulsive energies in your career. So, burning out and patience, these are two things that you have to always magnify when it comes into where you're at with what you're doing and building a career. Am I burning myself out, or am I riding the patient wave as I should? Because that's the thing, you have Aries here. So patience, you're gonna need that. So I know I'm saying you guys gotta make sure that the passion you have here is matched with some active intention. However, like I said, those periods exerting so much energy, exhausting yourself, now that could fake push you back into a comfort zone that you just worked yourself to get out of. Now you're like, shit, this shit really some shit. Working hard like a motherfucker for some shit in the 10,000 career. Woo, that shit exhausts you. Yeah, you got Mars there, because when you do work, you go hard. When you try to build something in a career, you go in. But sometimes the uphill battle to even get to that point. Comfort zone. Overthinking. People don't talk about how much Cancer placements overthink. Thinking is a subconscious thing. It's internal. Cancer is the internal sign. All right? So it ain't just being deep in the emotions. It's deep in here too. It's all the internal energies. All this shit is sensitive and deep as hell. So, all right, so you need to make sure you're aware of when you're feeling the need to make a impulsive decision in career, this, that, and the third, and everything come with its reasoning. There's a time making an impulsive decision was the reasonable thing to do. There's a time your impulsive decision created a situation for you to burn a bridge. And because you can be so confident in self here, because the sense of the I am lives in your 10th house, that's why burning a bridge may not seem like such a big deal to you in the present until afterwards. This is coming from a Scorpio midheaven. So we are experiencing a lot of the same themes in this house. With Mars ruling this house. And I have Mars in the 10th house. All right. So I relate to this, to my Cancer risings. Okay? It's going to be times where you feel like you don't have to take that much time building the foundation because you just need to get active or whatever, right? Fuck all the planning shit, whatever. Let me just do, work myself out this comfort zone. If I just do whatever, work myself out the comfort zone, then boom, whatever. But you still got to be a little bit strategical and plan a little bit. You don't want to be so passionate and forceful that you miss some essential steps with building a foundation or something, to the point where there's months or a year or years later, you got to look back like, damn, I should have LLC'd that shit when I started. Damn, I should have blah, 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 whatever. You feel me? Cancer rising. Mars on the 10th house cusp. Y'all got to make sure that you're able to take advice and listen to people in the 10th house. Cancer rising, when you guys have your heart in something, you have your heart in something. All right? But when it gets into the 10th house, Mars is here. So, shit, Mars ain't so much receptive. Mars is expressive, active, action-oriented. It ain't so much receptive. So you have to make sure that when you're channeling this sense of tunnel vision, passion, massive action. Shout outs to Tony Robbins. Believe that's his name. Massive action. Massive action is always going to produce results. So you could jump into that bag a whole lot with Mars in your 10th house. Just a bunch of massive action, massive action. Yeah, I may like the planning, but it's a lot of just massive action is gonna get, and that can work in your favor a whole lot of times. All right. But I just want to sprinkle in, right, the idea of just making sure some details and a bit of strategy is here, and boom. You know, not to say Aries ain't strategical. All right. Not to say Aries is not strategical. I just know how, I just know what the combination of Mars energies in the 10th house can do. The passion can get so overwhelming in this area that this person could get so tapped in and focused into what they're building in the 10th house. It's hard to hear the advice. I got my shit going on. I'm courageous. I believe in this plan, this vision, right? I'm feeling good going to sleep, tired as hell, because I'm just going in exhausted my motherfucking self for career endeavors. So somebody trying to tell you to do this, that, and third, hey, I think this sometimes like it's easy to be like, yeah, whatever. Because Aries energy, Aries is definitely one of the signs that, and I'm an air sign, so I'm a little different, especially being the opposite from Aries as a Libra. So it's like, you know, Aries is one of them signs that you can tell them something, and if you ain't an example of that shit, it's hard for them to respect it, you know? It's hard for them to respect it or really receive it from you. I'm a Libra. You tell me some shit, I may believe I may get gassed up and hyped up from some shit from somebody I shouldn't even be believing. Shouldn't be believing nothing you say. But I'm a Libra. I may just, oh, that idea, I fuck with that shit. We could get rich off that shit. Not Aries. Aries like, all right, nigga, so, okay, that shit sound good. Why you ain't rich off that shit? Why you trying to bring me? What you need me for, nigga? I could just go ahead and do the shit myself, which I don't need you for the shit you just told me to do. I thank you for the idea. I need a partner for that shit. That's Aries. So you got to be aware of this type of energy in career, Cancer rising. You know, you got this dying entrepreneur passion or something to do something in the 10th house in career, and one of your parents is telling you like, yeah, but I think you should at least just get this part-time job or get this that just they're not telling you don't follow your passions, but they trying to just help aid you, and it's like, yo, I got it. 2-3 years later, you like, I you know what, I ain't have it. I told you I got it, but I ain't have it. I thought I had it. I went looking for it, and I just realized I ain't have it. I don't want that for my Mars rulerships in the 10th houses. I don't want that for y'all. All right? But regardless, we got to learn what we got to learn, right? So these are just things to anticipate or things to shine clarity on what you guys been navigating when it comes into 10th house energies. Now, speaking of family, let's segue into that. Speaking of family, like I said, the 4th, 7th, and the 1st houses are going to be important houses to understand how it plays into career, regardless of what sign, what rising sign. So you got Cancer in the 1st house. You got to make sure your comfort zone, right, doesn't hold you back from taking action on intentions that's set in your career. Now, the 4th house is going to have Libra up in this motherfucker. You got Libra in the 4th house, Cancer rising. So a lot of the times you have to be aware about how family relationships and ideologies bring resistance to the things that you're individually driven about in career. All right? And Libra sometimes can be another sign that is you know, got a tad bit of God complex, you know. I know some of y'all just heard me say that, like, this motherfucker boy did not say a tad bit. Biased mother, I love you though, boy, I love you, but you're biased as hell, like, so my bad, all right, sorry, not a tad bit. Libra can have that God complex mentality because cardinal air, so they're creating they want to lead and create and pioneer the thought for everybody, for the partnerships, for the relatability, right, Libra, for the relationships and everybody else that they're giving the idea to connect with. So when you got the 4th house in here, Libra in here, Cancer risings, you have to be able to have a great judgment when it comes into any form of, you know, mental projections from family members. Is it coming out of good intention? Is it coming out of insecurity? What is it coming out of this advice, this perspective, this critique, this opinion about what I'm individually going to do in my 10th house, whether they motherfucking, because Cancer rising, that's the thing, is once the intention gets set here, you can't get it out the comfort zone or something, but once the intention gets set, yeah, it's on and popping. Yeah, locked in. So it's so much the 4th house could do. Sometimes a lot of your 4th house relationships, 7th house relationships take a toll from this. They take a toll from this. You know, some sacrifices got made at times. You know, so that's what really the main thing, you know, with Libra in the 4th house. You got to be aware, like, okay, I ain't really feeling that type of information from my mom, but I know she's really just saying that out of this advice because boom, 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 whatever. or I ain't really feeling the fact that, you know, I'm trying to do this in career and my family beliefs is into this and they don't mess with this type of vibe in my career. But like, so these are things that you're gonna have to make judgment calls. And I'm gonna tell y'all, as the lucky Libra, you can't let these things hold you back. You can only give your reasoning if you're genuinely just, you know, going after something that you're in career. Now this is Aries in the 10th house. So once Cancer rises, make up their mind about, you know, who they want to be in the world, or, you know, regardless if it's a lot of transformations that took them to get there, a lot of different careers, jobs, or whatnot. Sometimes, you know, eventually it gets to a point that, you know, Cancer rising, if not early in life, they don't really care about what you think they do in career. So if they're in sex work, if they're stripping, if they hustling, if they're doing whatever, Mars don't give a damn. Mars don't give a damn about what you think in the 4th and 7th. Because what we doing in the 10th house, making the first comfortable. All right. So this is why what I just said about the relationships in the home and the 7th house relationships, this is how these relationships can get transformed. It's not just saying that like it's based off of that type of energy, you know? And that's what it is. And that's just what it is, you know? It's not to say it's negative, positive. It's part of your life path. All right. And then we got Capricorn. And then we got Capricorn. Got Capricorn in the 7th house. So there needs to be a sense of organization amongst your relationships, because that can distort career. Relationship life unorganized, gonna trickle into career in some type of shape or form. Gonna trickle into career because Aries is the self-intention in career. So if you're bombarded, overwhelmed, lost, you know, unwise with how you're navigating your 7th house and how you're dealing with other people, it's gonna find ways to trickle into, you know, bringing resistance to your personal intentions in career. All right. So those are the important houses to understand. All right. And making sure you're doing your best to keep harmony between these houses can create situations where they support each other in certain circumstances. All right. Now, being taken from is important to understand with Mars here. So you got to make sure you're not getting taken advantage of in career, and times where you feel like, damn, I know I'm getting taken advantage of, but if I speak up, say something, do something to stand the third, I know I could lose my job. I know it's going to bring transformation. These are some tough ass circumstances to deal with, but spiritually, these are situations you have to break out that shit, because Aries don't do that. So you have to understand the theme of Aries living in this house. You cannot keep Aries restricted. It's not even so much restricted. Even though you're going to struggle with authority, you guys don't really do well with authority a lot of the times, and you got to be aware of legal issues as well. Mars, Aries in the 10th house, be aware of that, you know, be careful. But make sure you're moving stealthy. I would just say that lastly. And there's going to be situations where you're being taken advantage of, and maybe you being impulsive, you cussing your boss out. Spiritually, that's going to be the right thing to do, to be honest with you. Spiritually, going to be the right thing to do. All right. But of course, these are in extreme, obvious situations. All right, you could put that example into any environment in the 10th house. So it's important to understand that you can manifest situations feeling like you get taken from a lot in your 10th house. You know, business deals, niggas is trying to get more percentages, people trying to pay you for extra hours that you worked, and not trying to pay you for extra hours you work, like shit like that. Make sure you got all things right in contracts and whatnot when you're making business deals. Aries in the 10th house, because motherfuckers be for self. You got to make sure you don't jump into so much of a negative vibration of being super for self and jumping into selfish energies in your 10th house as well. You got to be careful with it as well. Be careful not letting it become a defense mechanism based off you experiencing people like this in the 10th house, right? There is a such thing as healthy business relationships, okay? If you needed to hear that, Cancer rising. So yeah, your imagery, your image, your reputation may get attacked at times in life. Usually your reputation, or you're going to seem like Aries in the 10th house, your individuality in the world shines through your reputation or what you're known for, regardless of what you do. If you're a DJ, you're a scientist or whatnot, you have a strong sense of individuality in your 10th house. And that's why it's so important to trust your individuality and what you believe in the 10th house, because you're here to be the example of what the pioneer, the leader looks like in the first house, Cancer risings. You got Aries here. So you got to be the pioneer in what you do in career and embrace situations to be that. All right. But your social status, you may fall in a situation where your social status just gets attacked a lot, whether it's gossip, reputation. Like gossip, people throwing shade on your reputation, all those different type of things, and you have to be very conscious of your reactions to these things. All right, especially being a Cancer rising reaction, right? Now, the first child, because Aries could have a lot of influences with first child energies. Your first child he may know what the fuck he want to do for career as soon as he come out the womb. All right, the first child may be extremely ambitious, but if you feel like, damn, my child ain't no motherfucking ambitious, the motherfucker probably super independent, probably super to himself, probably got strong Aries attributes, it's hard, doesn't open up a little bit, type of energy, quiet. All right, let me not say quiet so much, because you got them two shades of Aries. You got the quiet, don't really, secretive. That's the like stealthy Mars. And then you got the active, can't stay still, radioactive, ADHD Aries. All right. It is what it is. I'm not even sorry. I'm not trying to be offensive or anything. But, when we're talking about those highly active energies, it is likely, I bet you, if you look at, when we get into ADD and ADHD, I don't even want to use that. I'm mad I even use that type of terminology. But, in this matrix, they will try to say your kid that has a lot of Aries energy, these are the things. It's like, no, it's just a fucking young boy with Aries energy. How do you expect him to sit down 8 hours in a day in a row like that? He can't learn like that. It's not the kid. It's y'all not being flexible with y'all understanding the, learning languages of these children, But if we had astrology as, something to help guide us with how we teach, like how we used to do in the ancient times, then we wouldn't be dealing with problems like that. We wouldn't have nothing called ADD, ADHD. All right, but I was just pretty much using that as a, to describe. But your child, if it's not so much quiet, but just maybe very independent, a strong sense of solitude to the child, but definitely may be very ambitious, right? Definitely goes after what they want to go after. This would correlate a lot to the first child, so that may be something that you experience. Struggle with authority, I mentioned that. Legal issues, I mentioned that. Running with the law, you gotta be careful. And that's the thing. I'm not supporting I'm not encouraging criminality, but I'm just saying, because life is life. Sometimes in life, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do in different things. That's why obviously I'm not saying every crime, every type of law is that ain't shit, this, that, and third. No, raping and this, that. That's all. No, I'm not saying that, but I just understand how life is, and in certain circumstances, Cancer risings, when you're doing things that have you under the energy of potentially running in with the law, you have to be in tune with your subconscious to know, like, yo, I feel like a transformation is coming soon with what I'm doing right now. I probably got to fall back, detach. I have different people with different lifestyles. I may potentially have people of different lifestyles watching me, especially where I come from. So these are things that you have to be able to pick up on intuitively if you're living certain type of lifestyles career-wise here. All right. 10th house has a huge correlation to the knees, the joints, the bones. All right. So Aries activity can be things that make these areas vulnerable. So if you played sports a lot, you're an athlete, you probably had situations where you could say, yeah, I done broke my leg, I done broke my fingers, I done broke all that shit, bro. Or your knees in some type of shape or form were vulnerable in some type of way, hurt your knees. If you, Cancer rising, if you made it this far in the video, leave a comment. Let me know if you got scars on your knees, had any knee injuries. Let me know. I need to know. The joints as well. All right. So understand that. Take care of them kneecaps, y'all. Take care of them kneecaps. Now, you guys have a strong presence in the 10th house in general, so you always want to make sure you're coming into situations, demanding your respect, especially if you're bringing your talent, your value, your creativity, your mind, your energy, your time, to make sure there's a sense of your respect being, I don't want to even say demand, but just make sure you being respected up in that joint. All right, y'all. Now, for women, the 10th house can correlate to the aunt and uncles on the mother's side. All right. So if you're a woman, your aunt and uncles, all right, on your mother's side may have Aries-like attributes in some type of shape or form. Very individual, passionate, expressive, in some type of shape or form, a bit rowdy or whatnot. May have a aunt, uncle that has a strong reputation or presence for being more an independent individual, outcasted from the rest of the siblings. And then vice versa, father. Not father, but men. If you're a man, the 10th house, the energy in your 10th house can correlate a lot to the aunt and uncles on your father's side. All right. So you will see, if you look at your father's siblings, they may have strong Aries attributes. All right. So boom. And now, regardless of what I said with things, with career, with the house lord, the most important thing for career, when we talk about career, all right, because I'm gonna conclude, this video with what I'm about to say with things that you may naturally gravitate towards in career, and things may naturally, energies that are in your favor, and things to know that you are seen for in career. Just having Aries here to kind of wear these energies. But when the most important thing for career in the 10th house, regardless of what planets and signs you have here, is where the ruler's at. All right, that's the most important thing. Regardless of what anybody says, oh, you got Aries in the 10th house, yeah, you're gonna be in the military, yeah, you're gonna deal with physical training or whatever. That's too cliche. It's 2023, y'all. We need to know where the ruler of the 10th house is at. All right. So regardless of that, just having Aries in the 10th house, things dealing with the head area. This could be dentists, just psychologists. All right. So because psychology is always a thing that's going to be with Aries. All right. You got Mars here. So Mars has a thing for penetrating the subconscious. All right. So, boom, but anything dealing with the head, dentist, hair, makeup, beauticians, or is that a thing? Beauticians, yeah, beauticians, makeup artists, things dealing with, especially if it's helping somebody's presentation. I mean, if you're doing things for, like, makeup is helping somebody's presentation, but if they're like Matt, let me not dive too deep into that. But yeah, helping people with their presentation, especially if it's around the face area or whatnot. But it is very likely that things dealing with combat, physicality, physical training, you being in that environment. So you may not be the one dealing with the combat. You may be the one that always been in the boxing gym, and then you ended up being a trainer. But you never had it, but you never boxed, and you end up being one of the best trainers ever. They be like, how you become such a great trainer? I was like, shit, since ever I was young, all my brothers was boxing. I was always in the boxing gym. I was really a nerd. I was doing my homework in that motherfucker, but shit, I started studying that. I stopped studying motherfucking algebra. I started studying, things that were boxing, and then eventually, I started commentating. I started making a YouTube channel. I started doing this and that, or whatever the fuck. All right? But you was in that environment, things dealing with physicality, Now, a lot of these things could manifest a lot depending on, once again, aspects to Mars, what else is in your 10th house, because you may have Mercury. Let's say you have Mercury, let's say you're a Taurus sun, but you got Mercury in Aries in your 10th house. Now you got more of an analytical sense to what you're doing in your career, regardless of what you do. So you may not just be the rapper that's able to just, rap good. You're the rapper that can also do an interview and intellectualize a whole bunch of things outside of music, within the music, and all of that. You're going to be seen as more critical, more of a critical thinker, more of an intellectual person. I say intellectualist. I be making up so much motherfucking words. This shit is sad. All right. I hate when I do that. I really don't know if that's a word, y'all. That sound good as hell though. Intellectual. I'm an intellectualist. All right, but you know, being in that environment, so you get what I'm saying, using that Mercury example, you know, things dealing with physicality, physical training, joints, knees, bodies. That's why I think I'm subconsciously saying physical training a lot. You know, military, you know, things dealing with helping provide transformation, change, you know, regardless of what that may be something. Regardless of jobs and careers you're a part of, you're always in a situation that is a transforming situation. Like, all right, guys, it's a new company, y'all, so, you know, boom, boom. Or, all right, guys, we're going to transfer to this department, or you transfer to departments. So transformation can be a steady thing there. That's why you always want to be intention setting, because you don't want to feel like you're always getting bumped around in the 10th house. All right. So, guys, this is Aries in the 10th house. A very long video. Aries, y'all really, all my Cancer, let me see, all the Aries do the sign placements really been getting the most time, because for some reason the first video, when I start the new series, I just take a lot of time in the first house. Maybe it's kind of like a / intro, so I don't know, but y'all already know what it is. It's the Lucky Libra. Like, share, subscribe. All right. Appreciate y'all, gang. Tap into my website, Patreon, if you'd like to dive deeper and connect with the Lucky Libra. All right, gang. Peace.